Alright, we're now ready for Freedom Pulse running his second game. So, Freedom, take it away.
Alright, hello again. It is Freedom Pulse97. I'll be running. It is a direct sequel to East 1. Literally takes place on the game ends. So without further ado, there are a couple differences between the two, between the first and the second game. It is a sequel. They did improve upon some things. We'll get into that as we go. Once again, we are playing on the easy difficulty setting because I don't want to suffer through harder difficulty settings, because this game does get kind of brutal on harder settings. So, without further ado, we will be starting in 3, 2, 1, go. So, at the end of the first game, we saw the 6 books kind of surround Adol, and they took him up into the sky, into this kingdom that is the Lost Kingdom of Ys, which is this thing from a French legend. However, we are found by a little girl, well, I guess a young woman named Lilia, who finds us on this island and takes us to her home to let us recuperate from our wounds that we cured fighting Dark Fact. And we rest up, we heal up, and we are starting up. So... First of all, we have the NoGA here, who is his mother. Some us that Lilia is actually very, very sick. That she is dying of some unknown illness, and that we need to go to the town doctor to find so he can make a medicine to cure her. When we get to the town doctor's house, we discover that there has been an earthquake, that the mines near the town have had a collapse, that demons, which are what the monsters in the first game actually were, have been flooding out of the mines, and that the doctor was trapped inside. And so us, being the indebted and caring individuals that we are, volunteer to help take care of the problem. And so first of all, we're going to make one of a few shopping trips that we're going to be doing in this game. We're going to be visiting this store to buy a wing. It'll be familiar to those that just saw the run of the first game. It works a little different in this game, where it gives you a list of places to visit, because there are more places you can go in this game than you could go in the first game. However, we're only going to be buying this one wing, because we will shortly be getting an ability that lets us use wings at will. We're also going to use the remainder of our money to buy a short sword. In this game, unlike the first game, once again, you are not required to have a full set of equipment in order to proceed with the game. You only have to really have a sword. So I'll equip that. Tripping, or is there an audio delay? Not sure. However, works. So we're not required to have armor or anything. So because of that, this is where, when I mentioned earlier that the second game is a lot more dangerous than the first game, that is because we will be going almost this entire game without any sort of armor. So we will get to a point later on where everything will kill us in about 3 hits. So that'll be fun. However, we also, in this game, there is a more kind of standard level up system than there is in the original, or than there is in the first game. There's a monitor audio, okay, cool. This does have a more standard level up system than the first game had, where in this game we start the game at level 1, we'll be ending it at about level 50. And so this also means that we'll be grinding more, which is exciting, I'm sure. But we have to start off this game by grinding to level 4. There are a couple objectives we need to accomplish at this very first part before we can go into the mines and rescue the doctor. So we also, when we talked to the town elder, he told us that in order to open the way to where the bad guys are hiding out, we need to deposit all 6 books of Ys in front of statues of the 6 sages that are located throughout the ruins, which happen to be connected to the that are connected to the mines. So we get to level 4 there in order to be able to beat some monsters that are in the first area of the shrine. We pick up a Rhoda fruit there for later. And now we can go and talk to this man here, whose name is Astal, who is guarding the gate to the mines. And once we talk to the Elder, he'll open up the door for us that we can proceed in. And now we have to grind to level 6. There is an item we need that's back out in the first area, that outside area. However, it is blocked by stone golems that do not take damage from us unless we are level 6. So we must grind to level 6 in the meantime. Also, we are depositing the first Book of Ys to Priest Hadal, some exposition as to what's going on in the world. So one of the really important things to note about this game on easy mode is that in the first game I mentioned you had to be slightly off-center of an enemy's hitbox in order to deal damage to them without taking return damage. In easy mode on this game, they changed that so that as long as you are walking into an enemy and not vice versa, you will always deal damage to them and not take return damage. However, enemies are now able to move on a diagonal, which they were not able to do in the first game. And they also now have additional attacks that have extra range that deal damage to you regardless. Also, something worth noting is that on normal mode, the game retains the game adds back in the fact you have to hit enemies off center, and then however you'll always deal damage to enemies if you hit them at a diagonal. Right here, we killed that golem and we get the Rod of Divinity, which will allow us to get another big difference in this game, which is magic. We talked about and now we have an MP meter, which we will gain several spells throughout the game that will progressing. So now that we're level 6, our next kind of level goal is that before we level 12. Fortunately, we will get most of the way there just killing the enemies on our way. Just went to surprise me when we come back. It's a little trippy. Huh. That is interesting. But, oops. Yeah, that's true. But, I took a little bit of damage there. That's fine. All of these priests heal you to full when you talk to them. But this guy's in a good spot. That's nice. You'll notice I will run up to those doors and then touch the door and then walk away and kill an enemy. That is because the doors take a while to open before they actually let you go into the door, and so it's a minor optimization that we open the door, kill the enemy, and by the time we kill the enemy, the door will be open for us. So again, we're just killing enemies on the way through this mines so that we can get level 12 before the first boss. Also, an item we have to pick up here is a Maddock, which will allow us to free the Doctor from the collapsed rubble, which is just in here. Again, killing as many enemies as I can. Little weird thing there that I just did is that when you walk up to that rubble, Adol's supposed to examine it and cause like a little conversation between with the Doctor. However, if you actually run into the rubble at a diagonal, it doesn't trigger that text for some reason. So it saves about 5 or 6 seconds there. Hey, thanks for the luck cue. I appreciate it. Or the favorable probability, rather. So, interesting thing to note also is you saw that I broke the rubble, but then I didn't actually go talk to the Doctor. I'm not sure this version of these. When you go and you talk to the Doctor, or you can go and you can talk to the Doctor there, you can give him the letter and everything, it'll tell you to grab some items. However, if you don't talk to him, then he'll just go back to his clinic, and you can talk to him later. Out really well because it saves time. A little bit of grinding here in order to get up to almost level 11, and this enemy gives you the most experience. He also gives you 20 gold, or almost level 12 rather. He also gives you 20 gold every time you kill him. The reason we need to get to level 12 before this first boss is two reasons. One reason is that at level 12 we'll be able to do enough damage to the boss that we can potentially 3-cycle him, if not definitely 4-cycle him, which makes it a lot faster. Also, it will set up our money in a way that once we get out of the mines, we will be able to purchase the tier 3 sword, which will get us through a lot of the rest of the game. Also, okay, cool, I did. I totally forgot to mention that I picked up Fire Magic, which is the first of the magical spells that we learn. And it lets us shoot bullets of fire, which is really nice. Dropping off books 4 and 5 here as well. Yeah, Fire Magic is very, very important. We will use it throughout the entire game to great effect. And there are a total of 6 spells in the game, and if you talk to the one of the priests, he's like, yes, if you want to save the land, you'll have to master all 6 spells. In reality, we will only be grabbing 5 of them. There's one spell we'll completely skip, and one of them we would skip if it wasn't required for one single item. So this is Velagundr. He's the first boss. You can only hit him when his arms are open, otherwise your shots will just clink off of his arms. Whoops. And sometimes he is really hard to work with. So this is looking like a kind of 3.5 cycle here. Oh, that was really close. Okay, so that was Velagundr. That was overall a pretty nice fight. He's really pretty easy. The only difficult part is that most of the time I'm looking up at Velagundr and not where Adol is. And so sometimes he can hit you a couple times while you're not paying attention, and if that kind of spirals out of control, then you end up dying, which is not conducive to going fast. Here we pick up an iron ore. The swordsmith mentioned that they are running low on resources since this mine has been shut down for so long, that he is willing to pay us a lot of money in order to be able to, if we are willing to give him some iron ore. And that will be, we'll get 3,000 gold from our, going to need to have 2,000 gold by the time we finish the mine. That way we'll have the 5,000 we need to purchase the Talwar, which will be the level 3 sword, which I have now 2,000 gold, so I just have to grab a couple more items, and then we will be good to leave the mine. So, pick up this item. It's an evil bell. It's, it has some various functions throughout the run. I picked up the flower, right? Yeah, okay, cool. I had to pick up that Salsetta flower. It's an important ingredient in the recipe to save Lilia, even though we haven't been told about it yet. And here's the light magic. It is the second spell that we learn, and this is the one I mentioned where it's literally required for one item later on in the game, otherwise we would skip it. It's supposed to illuminate dark areas, though we just got through the only dark area in, like, basically the whole game, so yeah. So we'll be selling the iron ore to the swordsmith, and now purchasing the Talwar. And again, we have no money to buy armor, so we are not going to buy armor, and we will basically die from this point on. Most things will kill us in 3 or 4 hits, which is exciting. Now we can talk to the doctor here, now that he has made his way back, and he'll be like, oh, I was rescued. Oh, you rescued me. Cool. What did you need? We give him the letter. Oh, no, I need to save her, but I need these 2 items. Oh, wait, you already have the items. Great, I'll make the medicine for you. So it causes some pretty hilarious dialogue stacking. But we get the medicine for Lilia, so we should now go and return this to Benoa, so that hopefully we can save her life, because that's what we do. So we return we give the medicine to Benoa, and we leave the house. However, it turns out Lilia was actually listening in on our conversation, and now she realizes, oh, I didn't know I was dying. Well, thanks for saving me anyway. That's cool. So she agrees to drink the potion, or the medicine. It's not potion, it's medicine. Same difference. And hopefully it works. And based on the shining light, I'm thinking it works. In fact, she says she feels like she could run a marathon now, which I am in somewhat normal physical condition. A marathon, so that potion, I need to get me some of that. So for doing that, we get the return magic, which basically functions as a wing to evil times. So we never need to buy a wing ever again. Now, after doing that, we are going to be doing another pseudo side quest, pseudo required thing, where this person named Gila has a bunch of noises coming from their basement, and we agree to check it out, see what's going on. And so, you know, we ring the evil bell in the basement, and, well, we blow up a wall. It's a very potent bell, as you can tell. Alright, this is the basement grind. So there is a set amount of enemies that will spawn continuously in this area. If you kill all of the enemies, then you'll basically get a free level's worth of experience points, along with all of the experience points you get from killing these enemies. It will give us about 3 or 4 levels worth of experience overall, more like 3. And it's also the scariest part of the run, or one of the 2 scariest parts of the run. Because these night enemies that you see, there's these like weird little like slug enemies, the weird little worm men enemies, and then these knights. The knights can kill you in about 3 or 4 hits. And they are attacking another enemy. Their attacks will actually go through the hitbox of the other enemies and cause pain and suffering and sadness and lost runs upon you and your family. Which I would not recommend, so I'm going to be attempting to not die during this, which I have successfully done. So you'll get a little message here once you kill all the enemies. And now there's just 2 more enemies in here that you have to kill. And right here just happens to be the door to the last priest's area. And yeah, there's the additional level. And this is Priest Fact, who is the head of the priests, and also someone who, if you play East Origin, you might be kind of familiar with. However, he gives us this scroll, the Scroll of Guidance. It's basically the obligatory kind of beginner tutorial item in the game, where if you go to any of those goddess statues that, like, I got magic from earlier. Also, we're warping here because it's faster than walking out of the basement. East Origin, yeah. It's a very good game. It's a very, very good game. If you talk to any of the goddess statues, you'll get a little bit of a hint as to what to do. For the functions of the run, it's pretty useless. But now we have opened the door to proceed onward to From talking to the priests, they tell us that the demons and their leader have kind of holed up in the Shrine of Solomon, which is basically through a mountain range and a volcano to get to a cliffside where the shrine is. And this is introducing the villain of the game, Dallas, who is a very creepy hooded figure talking to this random knight dude while stalking us, as any good villain does. And we are getting to the second area of the game, which is the Ice Ridge of Nulsha. And this area is kind of actually a bit of a break in the game in terms of difficulty, because we had the mines, which were pretty intense the entire time, and the area after this is known as being one of the worst areas in the entire series. And yes, and the music here is amazing as well. And the area after this is one of the hardest area in the game. So this area is kind of a little bit of it's still, otherwise you're gonna die. Is breath of you before just kind of murdering you horribly again, which hopefully about would. But in this area, we have a couple of goals. There is, of course, the items we need to pick up in order to proceed. Also, before we fight the next boss, we need to be level 20. Less so because we need to be level 20 to beat the boss, but because it sets up our experience for the boss after this, and also sets up our gold, because by the time we beat the next boss, not the boss of the next area, we need to have 10,000 gold in order to purchase the tier 4 sword, in order to, which we'll need for the dungeon after that. So everything we do in this point, killing enemies as we go, is a means to set ourselves up for success in the end game, essentially. So we're just going to be killing a lot of the enemies that we can as we go, especially these, like, kind of rock Slycops guys. Here we're picking up the Hawk Idol, which is an upgrade to our Flame Magic. It gives a pseudo-homing property to our shots. I say pseudo-homing because it is supposed to be a homing shot. Sometimes it does, which but hopefully not shortly. The Ultra Magic, which is the 4th spell that we need. It allows us to transform into a Roo, which is a really cute monster creature that lets us avoid fighting enemies and talk to monsters and stuff. It's really cool. There we pick up an item that allows us to restore some of our MP, which we'll need later. And going through here, we pick up this item, which is an herb. It heals 50 HP. We picked up one earlier. We'll pick up 1 or 2 more, depending on how this game decides to treat me. And we pick up this item, which is the Stone Shoes, which is kind of our goal in going through our goal of going through this area is that we need an item called the Anti-Illusion Mirror in order to open up the door to the boss fight. In order to do that, we need to equip the Stone Shoes, which I actually need to use a thing. We need to equip the Stone Shoes because that lets us run up slippery slopes, which is where the Anti-Illusion Mirror is. The mirror is in the first area of the Ice Ridge, and it's faster to warp back to town and then walk through this hallway to get there than it is to walk back through the entire area, which is why we're doing this. And proceed on Ice Ridge to get to the boss fight, which is of Stone Shoes before. And we are doing good on experience. I should be level 20 by the time I get to the boss fight, which is good. Guys, and here we get the mirror, and we just have to go back through the area, and we will be done with the Ice Ridge of Nulsha. As I said, this area goes by quite quickly, and again, it is more of a, like, sort of prelude area to let you get ready for the storm that is coming. Oops. So, some of these next enemies should give me my level, so I'll get level 20 right where I need to. There we go. And even though I am the level I need to, I'm still going to kill these enemies because the more experience I can get as I go, the better. Since at level 21, the enemies in the next area are still pretty scary. So if I can, the closer I can get to leveling, the better. Oops. Also, fun fact, those ice things that I break give you 1 experience point. I don't know why, they just do. And here we use the Anti-Illusion Mirror on this door. Also, I got a little weird text over the lap there. And we save because it's time to go and fight the second boss, Tialmath, I don't know how to say his name. Yeah, he's basically a giant Frogger dude that shoots ice everywhere, and you try to just land charge shots at him whenever you can. And that's Tialmath. Easy boss. Again, preparing us for this next area. Here we get another herb. And we are now in the moat of Burnblast. It is certainly an area. That is for sure. First thing we need to do is we need to use the evil bell here to open up this area. It's another warp point, which is really nice because we haven't unlocked any up to this point. We pick up a Rhoda-leaf, which will be important for a puzzle later, and we pick up another Rhoda-fruit, because along with being an ingredient in the potion that saved Lilia's life, it also restores all of our MP. And we're picking that up now, and we're going to use it on the final boss. So, a lot of foresight there. So, again, we're killing the enemies here. We need to be level 26 by the time we fight the next boss. Partially because the boss fight's really scary, is already scary at 26, and we definitely don't want to be any lower than that. Also because at level 26, we're basically guaranteed to have enough money to buy the tier 4 sword once we beat the boss. However, first we have to survive this area. And friendly reminder that I do not have any armor at this point. So, at this juncture, basically everything will kill me in about 3 hits. So I have to be really careful, especially with these scorpion enemies that do a lot of damage. And the next enemy we'll be seeing, which is my least favorite enemy in the entirety of these two, after I kill these scorpions. These armadillos. At this level, I can't actually hit them. And they are scary. They deal a lot of damage, they have tons of armor. Even once I get to a level that I can hurt them, it takes like a very, very long time to actually kill them. And they are just kind of terrifying. However, we are able to avoid them for now, and by the time we see them again, we'll actually be able to do a little bit of damage to them. And we're at level 23 already, that's very good. And here we are getting to another town, the Colony of Lava. And if you talk to these people, they are very not friendly to you. And if you talk to them as a Rue, you discover why. So it turns out that Dallas has kidnapped the son of the Bridge Keeper in order to blackmail him into keeping us from progressing forward. He's basically like, hey, if you let Adol through, I'm gonna kill your son. Which, that's not very nice. And so, unfortunately, we have to go rescue this man's son. This man's son is named Tarf. And Tarf is definitely an individual. We get the Whisper Earrings, which will allow us to locate Tarf. And we warp back to the Rune Nest because it's fast. What madness, right? And I equip the Rhoda-leaf because it lets me breathe through toxic fumes, which will be important. Still gonna kill these enemies because it's important. Yeah, anyone who's played this game immediately knows why I was very reluctant to even say the name of this character. Narf! Yeah. So this room's kind of scary. It has two of those armadillo enemies I mentioned earlier in like very small passages. You can see how little damage I'm doing to him. I'm just trying to get around him. And this is the scariest room in the entire game. So these lizard enemies, I need to kill all of that, or I need to get where it needs to be. And there isn't bad. Oh, yeah. Also, as I said, I die in 3 hits to literally everything. Killing them isn't bad in and of itself. It's the fact that I'm being stalked by the armadillos while I try to do so. And yeah, this is the room with the poison gas that I need the Rhoda-leaf to get through. So yeah, I made it out of there alive, barely. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to use one of the herbs I picked up, because there's a safety herb I can pick up in this room. That is just over here. Also, these guys can shoot bullets at you, which is totally not fair, but whatever. Also, the bullets like killing you with 2 hits. So here there's an item that we need to pick up. It's called the Black Pearl. Yeah, poison gas and charge, yeah. Hello, game, right? And it spawns a bunch of these guys that shoot bullets of death and fire at you. But we're going to get the heck out of there. And yeah, again, we're just making our way towards Tarf. We need that Black Pearl item for later. Whoops. I am trying to kill these fire-shooting enemies. They are immune to fire magic because they're made of lava. This game actually has a little bit of logic in it, and I kind of hate it. Either way, in this room, if we have the Whisper Earrings equipped, we can go up to this crevice here, and we can hear Tarf on the other side of the wall. And he's like, hey, so I have a cellmate here that's a demon, but he's a nice demon. And he says if you give us this item called the Black Pearl, it will give him the strength to break open this, the cell. Seems legit, right? So we give him the Black Pearl. It's the best pirate I've ever seen. And he does indeed able to break out of the cell and even break through the wall. On the other side, Doki would be proud. However, that leaves us alone with Tarf. So if you were watching before when I was playing through the first game, there was that period of time where I had to escort Fina, and that part was really fun. Like, you know, there wasn't too much threatening her. She was very good at following you. You could go through doors when she was off screen and she would still be okay. In comparison, Tarf is probably the dump. Yeah, he just died. So that was why I saved right there. Because if the enemy AI just decides Tarf gets to die, then guess what? Tarf is dead. Yeah, right? Dude needs to roll better stats or something, because this is just not working for him. Also, Tarf is stuck on the... So, Tarf gets stuck on literally every single piece of geometry known to man. Like, if there is something that he can get stuck on, he will get stuck on it. Also, if he gets far enough away from you, he'll just start walking in the opposite direction, also known as where the enemies are. And as I said, unlike Fina, where you could go through doors with her off-screen and it would be fine, here, if I were to go through the door now, Tarf would not follow me. He will follow me now, hopefully. Yeah. So, if, also, Tarf has a set point that he spawns in whenever you leave him behind. And it just so happens that the developers, in their infinite wisdom, decided that Tarf's spawn point for that room needed to be, like, right next to the spawn point for one of those scorpion enemies. Oh my goodness, come on. And he'll just die immediately, and nothing you can do. That's the end of the escort. We're done with it. Thank goodness. One Tarf death is not unusual. I think my PB, which is second place on the global rankings, had dying once. So, yeah, that was the Tarf escort. And this is why everyone hates Tarf. However, we have escorted him. We get enough experience to push our level up to level 26, which is good. And the dude will now lower the drawbridge for us so that we can push onward towards the shrine. I'm gonna get water while I'm waiting for this drawbridge to lower. I'm talking a lot. Need more water. Hydration's important, everyone. I'm gonna use another herb. So, we actually don't have enough money right now for what we need, so I'm going to kill these enemies and it will give me enough money to be able to proceed. These enemies are on fire, so they're also immune to fire magic. However, they don't shoot bullets at you, which is really nice. we now have 8,000 gold, which is what we need because beating the boss will give us 2,000, and the item and the sword costs 10,000, so we are in the clear. I'm still going to kill these enemies for a little bit of extra experience points, though. And yeah, we had a 666 experience there. Nice at all. Spitefully kill that scorpion because I can. And just a warning, for those of you that are disturbed by graphic imagery, look away now. This is Galaldi. He is a very pleasant chap. And, yeah. This is, technically the most, intense boss fight in the game. This guy run away from Contra. Terrifying that when Origin they made him it doesn't, because this is like traumatizingly terrifying. Like you can see like hooks sticking out of his flesh and stuff. It's nice. It's very nice. So the way this boss works is that you have to hit him when his mouth is open, which is when he's either summoning or dismissing the giant worm thing. Like so. And what I'm trying to do, and again, this is probably the most technically demanding boss fight in the entire game. I'm trying to keep him in the corner, and I'm trying to keep the worm away from him, so that when he opens his mouth, I have as much time as possible to shoot bullets into his mouth. When he gets to about this much health, he's going to spawn a additional enemy that will get in the way of my shots, like so. And so I have to knock him away from the enemy, and then kill the enemy before he finishes the cycle, while also avoiding the worm, which is not going very well at the moment. And he is in the worst possible spot. So I'm going to take the time to kill the little enemy, and then try to get him back into the corner. And he should open his mouth for that. Now, there's a way you can time when he's going to summon and dismiss the worm. So it's not an issue to time. Also, right. Okay, so one more cycle should finish him off. Back in the corner with him, right? Yeah. Thankfully, they can't shoot him, and this is kind of where I mentioned earlier that the homing on the Hawk Idol isn't perfect. Because you'll see sometimes the shot will just move enough that instead of pushing him back towards the corner, it will actually bump him in the opposite direction that I want him to go. It's kind of obnoxious. It's just something you kind of learn to deal with, though. Also, when your MP runs low, it gets harder to land charge shots, which is why right there I kind of clinked a shot, or I couldn't get a charge shot into his mouth in time. However, one more hit should kill him, like so. That's Galaldi. You can all look back at the screen now. And with that, we're done with Burn Bless. That is the most terrifying part of the game done. And we do have enough money, excellent. So now we can go to the next real village of the game, and kind of the hub of where we're going to spend the rest of the game, Ramia Village. Our first order of business is to talk to Zalim here, who will sell us the Hypercutter, which is the tier 4 sword. And we can't buy armor, actually. However, this is at the base of the shrine here, so we need to talk to the gatekeeper right now. Is the rabbit thing used beyond this one area? So the transformation is a spell that we have that we can use whenever we want. It will actually become very important in this next section. I don't use it because you can't kill enemies while you're the Rue, and it is very important that you're killing all of the enemies as you go in order to have enough experience and money to meet the requirements for gold and such. So there we talked to Gorto, who is the gatekeeper. He reminds me of Gordo from Kirby because he also has a spear and is all spiky and stuff. He tells us that a man named Sada went into the shrine because his fiancée got captured to become like a sacrifice to the dark, to basically Sada's father, Hadat, who is a classy lumberjack, and he'll give us a shell which will basically be the permission to enter into the shrine and try to stop Dallas and his generals from destroying the world, because that's what heroes do occasionally. So we get the entrance. The Lila shell that he gave us is kind of a hint system for while you're in the shrine, because this next area is a very large and open area where it's easy to get lost initially. Also, Rue Magic. These are the two strongest enemies in the games, the Zerets. Luckily, they are the strongest enemies in the game, but they're also not the brightest. So basically what's going on here is that as a Rue, we're telling them, hey, I know I'm like really small and cute and stuff, but I killed Adol. You can tell because this is his equipment. And they're like, oh, cool, that's great to hear, awesome. Well, go right in. And so we gain entry to the shrine. Our first order of business here is they tell us about a woman named Zava, who is kind of Dallas's main second in command. And so we're going to try to find information on her, information on the people who are going to be sacrificed, and best foil the plans of the evil ones. We also find out that there is a meeting going on with Zava, and in order to get to that meeting, we have to have a pass, which is what we're going to get now. Which we turn into a Rue here. Talk to this secretary lady, and she gives us the pass, which again allows us to access the area just to the north of where we are. And if you do actually talk to the enemies around here, they actually have some pretty hilarious lines of dialogue that are actually like references to other forms of media. Like one of these blue enemies will tell you will be like, get in my belly, because he's hungry and wants to eat Adolru. Others will say other various things. There's an enemy earlier on in the game that makes a CSI Miami reference. All sorts of just random pop culture stuff. However, we turn into a Rue, we show this guy the pass, and he lets us go into facts sector of the shrine. Each of these sections of the shrine is named after one of the 6 sages. It's kind of the way that the game gives you to help navigate and orient yourself to what's going on. Oh, that was scary. We're good. Whoops, I need to be out. There we go. That was really spooky, but we're good. So here we overhear a meeting with Zava and some of her captains about the escapees. However, we find out they're in an area of the shrine that we can't get to without a password. However, they happen to say the password, and now we know where to go. So, I'm going to save. Also, further example of these guys not being very bright. They're like, hey, weren't you just in there? Ah, whatever. So we go to this place. Dude asks for the password. Luckily, the first option is the password, so I can just mash through that. And we are in this. So before the next boss fight, I need to be level 38. So I'm going to as many of these enemies as I can. There will be a required grinding section. However, if I kill some of these enemies as I'm going, it does expedite the process significantly. And this is the one place where we need the light magic. That cup there that you see does not spawn unless you have light magic equipped. It's a neat conversation topic, right? So we need that Sacred Cup in order to progress after this point. It's literally the only reason you need light magic, otherwise we could totally skip it. So if we go in here, we have our first formal introduction to Dallas. And he's like, hey, so you've been annoying this whole time, but I'll let you leave. And we're like, nah, dude. And so he's like, fine, well, I'm gonna curse you by making you incredibly cute now. So now we're adorable. Permanently. However, people think we're a monster, so we kind of have to get rid of the curse despite how adorable we are. And just look at him jump. So cute. We do want to kill some of the enemies in here, though. Try to get another level as we're going through here. But we need to activate another warp point that's over here. Okay, that's the last enemy. And now, once we get halfway through this area, we're going to warp back to Ramia Village. Because that archway is the checkpoint that creates the warp area. What happens if you go into that room as a Roo? I tried that. What happens is Dallas is like, oh, I see that you're disguising yourself. And he basically makes fun of you and just tells you to leave. And then he turns you from, like, the regular colored Roo into, like, the dark Roo. It's a cool little Easter egg, but yeah, it doesn't really make a difference. It's just he says something else there, as he's just like, he just makes fun of you, and then the dialogue continues as normal. So, we got turned into a Roo, and we talked to this old man, and he's like, hey, lucky for you, I have a magical well in my basement that if you have this special cup and you drink water from my basement with the cup, you'll turn back into normal. And we go along with it because that doesn't sound sketchy at all. But we are now human again, and we can go to the Runaways' hideout and actually talk to the people in here. If we would have done this earlier, they would have been like, it's a monster, and locked the doors. But we're no longer a monster. They're also like, oh yeah, by the way, Lilia's here, and Lilia. This is one of the instances of what I like to call jump scare Lilia, where she'll just like appear. Oops, I was supposed to split there. It's fine. Where she'll just like appear out of nowhere. Also, Dallas actually used us to locate the Runaways. And, you know, Dallas has really good party tricks. If he shows up to a party, he'll make sure everyone gets stoned. Which is what happens. So, yeah, now everyone's turned to stone, which is rather unfortunate. However, before she got stoned, Lilia gave us a key that allows us to open up the doors in the shrine. Is the east of the surfing section? No. I don't believe so. There is no surfing section, so different game probably. So now that we have the shrine key, we can go and get a couple of items. We are capable of going to the next boss fight now. However, we are not a high enough level to do so. Also, there are some enemies, or also we need another item that will be required to progress further after we beat the boss. So we go to back to this area, use the key here to open this door. Yeah, this area is very confusing, first couple of runs. And now we're going to be grinding for a really long time. Because these, like, Lamia enemies give you a lot of experience points per kill. And so we're just going to be killing them until we hit level 38. Which is not too difficult. They do have an attack that can actually kill you in, like, literally less than a second. Where if you let them, they'll charge up an attack that breathes fire that covers, like, half the screen and it will murder you instantly. Which is not fun. However, hopefully we will not be seeing that at all. Okay, so we'll be There is a little bit of RNG with how these enemies move. Like I mentioned earlier, enemies always spawn at the same point, but then after that, their movement's random. So that enemy on the left can... Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. The enemy on the left can either spawn walking towards you or away from you, and if they spawn facing away from you, it takes like 2 seconds every time. Whoops, that was a mistake. Can we see it for fun? Yeah, there is very few clear indicator where to go. Okay, I will show it for fun. I'll do it for the fans. So, this is what happens if you let them breathe fire. So, kill this guy. And... Come on, use it. Oh, it actually didn't kill me. That's surprising. Yeah, that's the attack. Sometimes if you're really slow on killing that enemy, they'll just, like, shoot it at you and just murder you. That time it actually surprisingly did not kill me immediately. Usually it does. Yeah, right, it's like, oh, the attack kills you immediately, and then it doesn't. Which is, I think, the first time that it's ever not knocked me down. So I'm at level 35, I'm level 36. So I hope you really like hearing the first couple of notes of this song. Whoops, I keep doing that. Ideally, I want to kill the enemy while he's like, well, it's in the doorway, because that way I can leave the room immediately. Because sometimes I am a little bit too fast on the uptake for it. Yeah, right? I wish my fire magic could do that. Oops. Just turn my fire magic into a flamethrower and destroy everything. Okay, so... There, there. Just one more set, and then I can get level 38 on the way to an item I need to pick up. Yep. So there's one more enemy I'm going to be crossing paths with right here, and then there's an item I need to pick up. And here we need the silver pendant, which will allow us to warp to a new area of the shrine once we beat the next boss. My magic's a little low. That's fine. Oops. There we go. And yeah, you get to see this dialogue a lot. Alright. Time for the next boss of the game. Drugar, however you say it. He has an interesting little quirk with him. So, when they were reporting this game, originally this game didn't have a charge shot for the fireball. Like, you would just do more damage with it. And then they decided, oh, you know, let's add a charge shot. That'll make the game a little more dynamic. It'll be cool. So, when they were doing that, they changed the damage values of everything so that, like, to reflect that you have a charge shot now. However, they forgot to do that with this boss. I'm also having a weird fight right now. They forgot to do that with this boss. So your regular shots will actually do full damage to him, regardless of... Yeah, so you can just spam fire on him. Also, he has these little antenna things that eat your shots until you destroy them. It's an exaggerated thing, kind of annoying. However, he's almost... Oops. There we go. He's gone. And that's the fourth boss down. And I need to remember to equip this. So, yeah, you talk to this thing, and the goddesses speak to you like, oh, you need to find 2 pendants. And then you touch the statue again with the pendants, and it warps you to a new area of the shrine. And for those of you that were worried about the fact that I have been going this entire game without any armor, you will soon be, you will be worried no longer, because I'm about to pick up some armor. You know, 50-something minutes into the run. Also, that call was Hadot telling us that an obnoxious little boy has showed up at the town, and that we should figure out why he's there. I'm maybe paraphrasing a little bit. However, we pick up the battle shield. It's finally some armor. Also, my health is low already because that's fine. Oops, there's a. So now, in this area, we have to get to the top left, or the top right corner of the area, which of course means that we have to run to the top right before we can get there. This canal is laid out very interestingly, to say the least. Yeah, so Keith's over there, he's going to give us an important item. So this is Keith, he's the demon that was trapped with Tarf. He tells us that he was actually a human at one point, and his girlfriend was murdered, and then he was cursed and turned into a demon. Long story short. However, he gives us a key that will allow us to drain the floodgates, or to open up the floodgates in the subterranean canal, which will allow us to get easier access to throughout the sewers. So we're going to go and do that right now. This is the door that we have the key for, and we will drain the floodgates, which will give us basically another free level. And now we're free to run around in the area down there, in the canal part of the canal, so to speak. Is this the fastest version of Ys 2? It is not. Japanese Chronicles version is faster because of text, and then there is another version of the game that is complete, that is called Ys 2 Complete, that has a feature. Whoops, I'm going the wrong way. That has a feature that lets you swap. Like when I open up the menu here and have to go through stuff, there is a feature in that version that lets you actually quick swap through those without having to open the menu, that makes it slightly faster. However, I do not own the Japanese Chronicles version, which saves about 2.5 minutes in this game, playing in Japanese versus playing in English. I don't have that version yet, though, so I'm running on this. Also, it's English, which is nice for people watching. And so I finally picked up all of the battle equipment, and my defense shot up like crazy because of that. Also, we have a new sword, which is pretty nice. So while we're picking up upgrades for all of our stuff, I don't know why I decided to kill that guy. We will pick up this treasure chest, which will give us the Falcon Idol, which is another upgrade for our fire magic. It makes our shots now a light blue color instead of the red that they were. Also, whenever we shoot charge shots, it gives us, or it causes the shots to kind of split off and into 5 smaller shots like that. So here we're going to be grinding for a while. Before the next boss, we need to grind to level 45. And these enemies are the fastest ones to do that on. The wizard enemies here are actually immune to magic. However, the knights are not. So we are going to be shooting Falcon Idol shots and hoping that the rebounds actually hit the knight enemies and not the wizards. There we're setting another warp point by going to that goddess's palace. Hopefully we don't have to go back there after that. Yeah, we're just going to be running back and forth until I hit level 45, and then I can go fight the next boss. There's level 42, and this grind gets a lot easier as I go since we start doing a lot more damage to everything. And I don't die in 3 hits now. Now I die in like 6. I am the intended level, or the intended level and the intended equipment now. However, since the game is like, oh, well, we just gave you an equipment upgrade for literally free, so let's just bump up the strength of literally everything. Also, I didn't mention it before that this song is awesome. It's a lot more chill than any of the other songs in this game, or than a lot of the other area themes, but it's really, really nice. And I believe the song is just called Palace of Solomon. Whoops, I got hit, so that's fine. Those fireballs are kind of scary. I have herbs though, so it should be okay. Just a couple more passes and then I'll have level 45 and be able to go fight the boss. Which is just in this room, or it's just in the next room after that. And I do that to reset the area so that I can get these enemies to respawn. Oops. Ah, spooky. There we go. That got a little sketchy. It is a little redundant, but it's just like, I definitely have my favorites, and so I kind of like to point them out. But yes, in general, this game does have a phenomenal soundtrack. So just kill these extra enemies here, because why not? And it is time to fight Zava. Which I'm going to... Nah, I think I'm good. I can still use the herb later if not. GOG version of Chronicles like a month ago. It should be similar. They should be the same version. So this is Zava. At the beginning of the fight, you have to kill these bat things to deal damage to her. Actually, shooting at her will not do anything. So you have to kill a couple waves of these bat enemies. Also, when we were talking about Toho earlier, this game takes that very literally now, and this boss fight becomes kind of a curtain fire shooter. Because there will, if I'm not careful, bullets will just be all over the screen. Also, this is where the homing of the kind of shows its flaws. Where sometimes they kind of run into wall. Oh yeah, so the options to switch versions. So you can run in the, you can use the soundtrack of about 3 or 4 different versions of this game. The TurboGrafx version, the Chronicles soundtrack, and the complete soundtrack, and I believe you can also run on the original PC soundtrack as well. And you can run at 2 different frame types. The frame type I'm running is the complete version, which zooms out, which is a little bit more zoomed out than the Chronicles one, and it gives you this little frame. The Chronicles version, since Chronicles was originally a PC game, or a PSP game rather, the frame is a little bit more zoomed in. However, you don't have a frame around it. Also, that was a really close boss fight. And it's the aspect ratio is that of a PSP instead of just 4:3. And and so you have like all the HUD stuff that I have at the bottom, just on the sides of the menu, or on like the corners of the screen. Also, we get to the Company of Lane, and they are currently in the process of getting ready to sacrifice Maria. So we need to hurry to the top of the bell tower before the bell tolls 5 times. And movement in this area is kind of interesting because in this game you have a couple frames of movement when you enter and exit a screen. And so if you know what direction you're moving in the next screen, then you can actually start moving in the right direction and save a little bit of time. And the bell has tolled 3 times. We're cutting it a little close here. Don't know if we can make it.
Better now?
Huh?
Better now. Now I should be hitting one in the middle, right?
Was there something off, or... Oh. I think you jumped in the wrong call. Either way, so we get to the top of the bell tower, and Dallas stops us, and the bell rings for the 5th time, signaling the beginning of the So.
Yes, sorry about that. That's totally wrong. Yeah,
Oh.
I'm terribly sorry about that.
Whoops. I know. I
I'm
was
setting
like,
up the next runner.
is that better? Is that centered? I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't know. Are you messing with my
I'm guessing
stream?
if I didn't notice, it would have been pretty obvious. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. Either way, so Dallas's plan, just a little bit of an explanation as to what's going on, is he's sacrificing descendants of the 6 sages in order to... Also, we need to pick up this item because it's important. He's sacrificing descendants of the 6 sages so that he can break the seal on his master, Dharm. Whoops. Also, we're now meeting the goddesses of East, who might look a little familiar. It's probably just a coincidence, though. Basically, he wants to sacrifice descendants of the 6 sages to break the seal that's keeping the Kingdom of East suspended in the air, and have it come crashing down, which also will break the seal on his master, which will allow him to come and conquer the world. Right there, we talk to the goddesses, and they're like, hey, you have the Dreaming Idol, that's cool. If you combine that with the Black Pearl you had earlier, you can unfreeze Tool. We talk to him, and he's like, oh, so I have a hole in my pocket, and I dropped the Black Pearl. Friendly reminder that Tarf is useless. So now we have to go find the Black Pearl. Luckily, these gatekeepers are actually more useful than Tarf is, and they tell us that the meeting's over, which is supposed to be a hint that the Black Pearl is located in the meeting room from earlier. Also, the song that is playing now is called Battlegrounds. It's another great track. And MP doesn't matter at this point, by the way, since the next couple bosses are actually immune to magic, so I just kind of spam magic whenever I can, just for funsies. And it's fun to just hear, like, millions of things exploding off screen. So, we get the Black Pearl here. So now we can combine that with the Dreaming Idol to free everyone. Which we do this. However, in order to do so, we have to climb back to the top of the Campanile of Lane. So, yeah, we get a little bit of backtracking here, unfortunately. Though at least we get to listen to good music while we do so. Also, I don't need to be killing these enemies here, I'm just kind of doing it for funsies. And Maria's gone. Rip Maria. So we use the Dreaming Idol on top of this tower. And we have unfrozen everyone, which is very nice. So now we're going to warp back to the Goddess's Palace. Ooh, actually really close to level 48, which is a higher level than I really need to be at this point. So I should get one of these guys. Yep, I'm 48 now. That's cool. So there's a couple things we need to grab now. In order to defeat Dallas, we need a silver sword again, or a Claria sword. So we need to grab one. Thankfully, Sada has one, and earlier you could have found his stoned body in part of the subterranean canal. So really quick, we're gonna go and and talk to Sada, see if we can get his weapon from him. Oops, I keep going this way every single run I do. Also, yeah, fire breathing is still terrifying. It's not as bad now, but it's still pretty terrifying. It won't kill me at this point, but it will take a good chunk out of my health bar and kind of ruin my day a little bit. Oops. There we go. So we talked to Sada here, and we're like, hey, so your fiance got sacrificed. And he's like, oh, well, I don't have any reason to be here anymore. Here, take my sword. So yeah, we get a magical sword, which I will now equip. And now we work back to the Runaways' hideout and see how they're doing now that we have unfrozen them. So here we have to talk to everyone. They're like, yay, we're saved! And turns out Lilia is gone. No one knows where she went. She was gone by the time everyone woke up. And then Keith shows up. And Keith is apparently freaking magical, because he gives these five men, a wing. Something to note about wings in this game is they're only supposed to work with one person at a time. If you were to try giving Tarf a wing earlier, he'd be like, oh, well, I can't use this because we can't warp two of us at the same time. Also, we get the gold pendant, which is needed to get to Dallas. However, literally 5 people just use the same wing, so I'm calling shenanigans on the game's part. They just wanted to torture us with Tarf. However, now that that is said and done, with the gold pendant, we are now able to go to that same statue we were at earlier with after Drugar, and we are now able to warp to a different location now we have the gold pendant. Which will be where Dallas is, so we can begin our fight with him. We just have to run through this canal, hope that none of the Lamias decide to breathe fire on us. Alright, so I'm going to equip this preemptively, and I have Claria, so equipped good. Alright, time for Dallas. This fight can be a little scary. Also, the song is called again. So he blocks with his magic, and we basically have to just charge headfirst into him. So this boss, with the current equipment loadout that I have, and at the level that I am at, every hit from him will do 12 damage. And if we've learned one thing about these games in the last almost 2 hours of playing them, it's that invincibility frames do not exist. So, the meteors can do, like, around 50-something damage to you if they decide they hate you. Like that. Which is why I have the herbs equipped. And so you can deal between around 1 to 3 hits on Dallas per cycle. Obviously, we want to be going for 3 hits. And it usually requires a little bit of clever maneuvering on my part to be able to do so. Whoops. Whoops. Also, since the fire magic doesn't do anything, I think it's fun to shoot to the beat of the music sometimes. Ah! They feel like it does charge you, literally. There is technically a way to manipulate the meteors into not murdering your face off. Also, that's Dallas down. Into not murdering your face off. However, I have not figured out the way to have them not murder you. And we get the shield magic, which is the ultimate spell in the game. It makes us completely invincible as long as we have a magic meter. So basically, we now have double health. And with the Rota Fruit that I got earlier, we basically have 3 health bars now, which will be more than enough for the final boss. Also, there's one more line that Tarf has, just so he can be annoying. By the way, Maria's alive. She actually did not get sacrificed. I guess she got saved at the last second. And we find a dead end, and Keith comes and rescues us. Also, Gorto's here. A black shadow was ahead. Someone was just here! Hi, Lilia. I think it's hilarious that they set that up to be some sort of jump scare or something. When it's like, oh, it's just Lilia, okay, whatever. And she gives us the Goddess's Ring, which lets us break the barrier that was over there. Also, it ups our stats a little bit, which is cool. And we are now Lilia the Destroyer, right? So, oh, this is the room we fought the Ghoulian in, by the way. And there's this door. Also, those two look very familiar. Yeah, so time will be on the last hit of the final boss. So that'll be in about 2 minutes, 2-3 minutes, like a little under 2 minutes. I'll let you know when it's coming up. Yeah, it'll be on the last hit. So we get the silver harmonica, Goban shows up, he gives us the silver harmonica, and we get to play a little bit of it to rescue the goddesses from the Curse of Darkness. And now we get to talk to the goddesses. And it turns out, shocking revelation, Fina and Rhea were actually the 2 goddesses of East the entire time. Yeah, somehow Adol has a photographic memory. He can remember how to play a song on harmonica. He's heard it played literally once before. And the goddesses power up our sword, evil, and we hit level 50, which is awesome. That's exactly what we need to be for this point. And get shield magic ready. Final save. It's time to fight the final boss. So this is Darm. Embodiment of pure evil. To fight him, and let's see, danger of dying, danger of him wasting a lot of time. So as you can see, he can kind of go wherever he wants in the area, and when you see those like little red circles around him, that means he's stuck in place. With Dark Fact, yeah, Dark Fact was brutal my first playthrough. This fight I did on my second try. So when he gets these red circles around him, he is stuck in place. And sometimes he can do that when he's out of the arena. Also, get ready on time. It'll be in a little under 30 seconds. This is his second phase. He gets lasers that like to ruin your day. And yeah, he's stuck in a good spot. So hopefully... Also, I'm using the Rota Fruit to completely restore my magic. Ooh, he's in a good spot. That's good. And... time.
GG.
Thank you. That was actually...
118.04.
Nice. That was a gold split on my Darm fight, actually. That was a really good fight.
Hey, at least got a gold out of it.
Yeah.
How much off PB?
4 minutes. Or like 3.5 minutes.
For a marathon, run rate's pretty good.
Yeah, the biggest time loss was in Burn Bless with Tarf dying.
Underestimate is underestimate.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely, by 2 minutes too. Yeah, that was East 2. It's very fun.
Is there like I always wonder when there's like this multi-game blocks, and is there also like a category for completing both games at the same time, like after each other, like a multi-run?
So
I know like Harry Potter. series has one of these.
Yeah, so for this specific game, for this specific version, there is not. The TurboGrafx 16 version, which actually includes both games as one entire game, where you can play them like straight up back to back, does have that. However, there has not been officially a Ys 1 plus 2 Chronicles version. There's been talks about starting to do that. However, there's literally myself and one other runner that actually run both games. So, Ys 1 has has a pretty big community, or decent sized community with a lot of runners in it. There's a Discord with a lot of very supportive people that are willing to help people learn the run. It's a very easy run to learn.
Oh, you should post that in the chat.
Yeah, I don't have the link. I can grab the link after this.
Yeah, you can link it afterwards.
Yeah, but
good.
It has a lot of very supportive people and a lot of people that are very knowledgeable about the run. Ys 2, it being a longer game and kind of a more technically difficult run, does not have the same community, or does not have kind of the same basis to it. Korzik, who has been in chat a little bit, is the world record holder in both games. He's done a ton of work for both games, so shout outs to him. He's awesome. He's helped out a lot because at the time that I started learning the game, there was 4 runs on the lead and 2 like the game in years. So when I was full in a lot of the questions I had about routing and everything that was going on, and it'd be awesome to again see more people running this game. It's always great to see more people. We do weekly races at Ys 1 every Thursday.
Ooh.
And we're starting to kind of transition that into being Ys 1 and Ys 2 as well. So it'd be awesome to see more people turn out for those races, have a really fun time. We hang out, we joke around in Discord, and we race Ys 1. It's a lot of fun.
Sounds like a great community.
Yeah. Yeah, shout outs to the community, shout outs to everyone, especially Korzik. Shout outs to TuxDev and Delphi Knight, who ran this game in a marathon about 6 months ago. They did a race, and that was what introduced me to the community. Before that, I had an interest in running the game, but I didn't have really a resource other than just watching other runs.
I think the game audio just spiked hard, by the way. This music is really loud.
Yeah, here, I'll drop it really fast. So, there's a fun little bug in the game where, because this oops, I think the game just bugged out on me.
We kinda, I don't know if we have time. Is it in the credits?
Yeah, no, we're done. There's a fun little bug in this game where the music volume for cutscenes is not altered at all. So it just gets really loud.
You should just use the Windows audio mixer, then.
Well, yeah, that's what I just dropped the audio a little bit, but I can be done with that though. But yeah, it's a fun little bug. But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
In that case, we'll be moving it over. Do you have anything else to say?
No. Thank you so much for letting me run this game. It was
the honors on us. Thanks for running.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and hopefully I was able to catch you up with the schedule a little bit.
A lot. We're not going to be starting 20 minutes behind this time.
Well,
so
there you go.
Nice.
All right.
Slowly catching back up. So
awesome.
Thanks for running.
Yeah, of course. And I'll grab that Discord link in case anyone has any interest in looking into that.
Alright, see you for Bioshock 2, everyone.